evening and welcome to the Heritage Preservation Conference meeting. I'm officially calling the meeting to order. I'm Ann Earl. I'm looking forward for a review of the minutes from the September 21st meeting, and then I would entertain a motion. Has everyone read the minutes?
Well, I read them at home, so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second.
Terry and Betty, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a design review of the Heart of New Ulm bike racks. All right, Dan, are you representing the Heart of New Ulm?
If you have any questions, yes, I am.
I had a question. I like the idea of the bike racks a whole lot. And I like the idea of them being powder coated. I wanted to know the multiple bike rack, the 6 rack, how deep is that into the sidewalk? How wide, except, I'm assuming that's going on the sidewalk on the side street of the telephone company?
You want me over there?
Please.
Dan Bernick, representing the Heart of New Ulm.
Thank you.
Some are going on private, not in the right-of-way, like at our bank, for instance, we have some private space.
Yeah.
And a lot of it hasn't really been decided where they're going to be placed at this point in time. Elwood, maybe you even have a better idea on the sizing of the larger ones.
Well, I know the larger one, they talked about possibly taking up a parking space. I don't think it's that large. Just looking at it, I would guess, I don't see any dimensions on it. But looking at the small one, you know, the bottom of the hoop is 22.5 inches wide. You're probably looking at around that 4-foot length for the 6 bike rack one.
Well, I just was reading the locations, and it says New Ulm Telecom large, and Alliance Bank was large, but that's private property. Citizens is private property. Tillish is a small one. It's on the side street. That fits in with all the other ones. But when I look at the large one, and I look at the sidewalk on the side, I'm assuming it's going on the side. Maybe it's a bad assumption on my part.
Well, I believe it would have to be on the side. That's where all the other bike racks were placed because of the, what was it, the recreational conveyance ordinance that was looked at in 2012 to be able to bike downtown. And that's why the bike racks are on the side streets and not down Minnesota, because you
Right.
still can't ride down the sidewalks in Minnesota.
Right. No, a lot of people do, Terry Sweeney, but
No names.
So yeah, I would assume it would be on the side street, but that would have to, being it's in the right of way, that would have to come in front of city council to get approval for the big one to go in the right of way.
And essentially, it would take up no more room than like the bars that have the sidewalk, the
Tables.
the tables in front, basically.
Yeah.
I would say that's
So-
probably pretty accurate. Yeah.
So you'd have the same amount of,
Yeah. You know, basically, the tire goes into that round hoop.
Yeah.
So you basically got the length of a bicycle, whatever that would be, 4 feet, probably, I'm guessing. I have a bicycle, but I've never measured it, how long they are. But basically, Elwood is right, it has to get in front of city council if it's gonna be on the right of way, so some of that is still, I think, kind of being negotiated at this point.
Yeah, that's my assumption. Cindy had been in contact with Brian and
Yeah.
was brought to aware that they would have to go in front of city council. The single hoops,
the
Is
single
my-
hoop.
is my
Tell me how the
understanding-
bicycle fits in there again?
You're really looking when you use these hoops as
Can we
a,
put this up on the screen by any chance so that,
you're looking to wrap your chain around it, your cable. That's really what it's doing. You're
So-
not putting your bike in there. It's just a place that's enclosed that you can put your
Lock it.
lock cable
Got
lock on.
it.
so this is
Okay.
essentially, the bike can go this way.
Yeah, that's yeah. And then depending which side of the wind is blowing, you put your
Okay.
bike, yeah.
So if I'm looking at the multiple large bike rack, the bikes are fitting in here?
Some of
or the
them would
bikes-
probably, yeah, on the big ones, I bet you'd put some between them, but you'd still probably cable them or lock it somehow.
Well, you could lock it if you put it inside there.
Yeah,
Okay.
run your thing around it.
So essentially, it's not in the way, really.
No,
So on page 7, is that a picture of 2 of them,
That,
side by side?
that's the big bike rack,
the
that's the
big one.
six.
That's the six.
So the bikes will come out this way?
But yeah, that's two bike racks,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But the bikes fit inside between those.
Right, you would have those 3
That-
stalls
that
would be,
inside.
Right,
right.
The front tire.
Okay.
Front tire would come up into that post, yes.
Right.
thank you. Being a owner of bicycle, I should probably know how to do
I
that.
think they're very nice looking.
I think.
Oh, they're very tasteful.
Yes.
And they don't, the powder coating you mentioned, and I agree with that, that's well done. The ones, we had one outside the chamber, and that, I use it all the time, and it didn't get
Didn't get-
chipped
it
or
won't get
nothing,
dinged
yeah.
up,
So
no.
it's a good, long,
No,
lasting solution.
I guess the big question is the color that they wanna, go with. And I can pass the color around.
It's
It's,
red,
the brick red
yeah.
is what they're proposing. This one up here.
That one.
Yep.
That's not,
That,
an-
that would be for the whole bike rack itself, is my,
Okay.
Yep, all of it.
that's not offensive.
No, that's,
Good
And
German color.
it doesn't clash with the green that we already have,
No.
correct?
They're brown.
they're brown.
Brown?
They're same color as
It's the
the light
posts that are
standards.
green.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta go on a walking tour down there.
The museum has them, yeah, yeah.
I'd lead them.
Would you? I'll do that. Not doing anything tomorrow morning, Do you have a lot of inquiries for more? Or-
The last time, I think
Excuse
about
me,
6 different locations now, I believe. Not, as you said, Alliance, Citizens Bank, New Almtel. We'd still like to get one right around City Hall here someplace, but we
Mhm.
gotta talk to Brian about that.
Well,
I
having
think that
just,
the brewery wanted one.
yeah. Having just come from the Park and Recs meeting at the community center, and all of the talk going there about the bicycle trails and the influx that they're expecting of bicyclists with all the trails, it's a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's timely.
If you don't have them, I've had a bicycle stolen a year and a half ago, and I'm very conscious of locking mine up now, all the time. And if you don't have a place to do it, it's a negative. You go, then you put it on like a telephone or a street lamp pole on the sidewalk, and inevitably the handlebars are hanging out. And so this is a safe point of view from pedestrians and traffic, but it makes bicyclists want to use it too. So it's a sound idea, I think.
And right now, you just have those 4 places, but looking at more.
Right,
correct? All
right.
I'll entertain a motion to, is that what you're looking for,
The color.
the color.
the color?
Yep.
To approve the color of the red, ruby red or whatever,
brick red.
brick red?
Brick red.
So move.
Okay, Ben, second?
A second.
Betty? Okay. Any further discussion?
I do have a question. Will the single ones, for example, the one on page 8, will those be replaced with single versions of the new ones? Or will be
No,
two
those-
separate
In
kinds?
addition.
Yeah, these are in addition to the city bike
of the
racks.
city bike racks.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dan.
Those rumors about you guys being tough to deal with, it's not.
I was excited about it, especially after having come from the Park and Rec meeting. That was good. Get back up.
So much of what we do in things like that, I see as competition. If you don't think of tourism as competition, but every town's after the same spender's money. And if somebody else is doing it and making themselves attractive for, in this case, a bicycle clientele, and we're not, we're losing. And so sometimes you don't like to be driven by competition, but if it's the reality, you gotta step up and do it.
It's not just attractive, it's accommodating.
Good word.
Yeah,
Put that in the minutes, though, with accommodating.
All right.
right. Reports from officers. City report, George's.
I was just approached again this last week from the county auditor on George's Ballroom to see where the process is of declassifying it if it goes back into tax forfeiture this spring again. Because it sounds like she wants to expedite the process if at all possible. Made contact with Michael Coop up at the state and was directed there that we'd have to do a environmental quality board. Was it Minnesota Environmental Quality Board requires that we do a environmental assessment worksheet on the property before anything would happen with it, and then they would also, we'd fill that out, and the state would review that also and look at it, and if appropriate, let it out for public comments on it also. So that's where we're at with it right now. So I'll be doing some more information gathering on the worksheets and stuff that we need to get filled out, and talking with the state. There was some concern on it. They know about the study that was done back in 2002, 2003, and the condition that it's in now. They've got a fairly decent handle on what's happening or not been happening with it over the last 12 to 13 years. So I just wanted to bring you up to date where that is, and like I say, the county is, if it does go back to forfeiture, she's looking at doing an expedited timeline on it.
Would it be, would the county put it for auction then, as was done when Randy bought it?
I don't know what their process is. However, whatever she has to follow, she hasn't said that. She has made the referral of demo if it so comes to that, or if it's able to go to that route.
I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was kind of explained that the county would turn it over to the city because the city had the most tax revenue base on it. Now, is that not true?
I would have to do some checking on that. I don't know how the process would work. I know it would go back to the county first. Or have Dave talk about it here.
Dave Schnobreck, I serve as the city's community development director. The property would be offered to the city, and the city could either pay the purchase price that the county has established for the property, or the city could be given the property provided it was going to be used for a public purpose. But I'm not aware of something going to the city because of the tax rate or the amount of taxes that a jurisdiction receives.
Thank you. Cara,
Mm-hmm.
did you have any discussion that you wanted to lend to George's Ballroom?
Oh, I'm the newbie. I went to the Minnesota Main Street Preservation Conference just this past week in Red Wing, and they used George's Ballroom several times as an example of how to preserve buildings and things. And the thought process behind their viewpoint on it was that trying to build that same building today would be over $3 million because of the quality of the construction, not the current state it's in, but the quality of the construction. And basically their feeling was anything is worth saving, but it's going to cost a lot. And the example they gave was an apartment building in Minneapolis that burned from the inside, and I don't remember the name of the building, but it's the gentleman bought the shell and turned it into luxury apartments. I mean, it costs some money, but it's...
They're redoing the theater down in Minneapolis too. There's one of the theaters that's totally been destroyed, and they are...
Yeah. It was Catherine Sandland that I was talking to at the conference, and she's on the design team for the Minnesota Historical Society.
Sure.
And she was saying that the quality of the construction of that building, the uniqueness of it, makes it worth saving.
And she definitely did a walk through the summer when she was there. She didn't go into the building, but she did go around the building and indicated that there were far worse conditions of buildings that they were preserving.
That's correct. Like I said, I do have Emily Northey coming down on the 1st, and I've got a call out to Randy right now to see if he'll let us in the building. I asked him about 6 months ago, and he wouldn't let us in.
And does Main Street want to repurpose that building?
Don't know yet. Possibly.
Possibly. Dan?
Again, Dan Bernick and I was on the council when that came up in 2002, and Dave, if I'm got something wrong here, let me know, but, we had an architectural firm look at the building back in 2002. We didn't have any specific ideas of what to do with it, but just to replace the plumbing, electric, and all that stuff. I remember an estimate of about $2 million at that time.
It was just shy of 3 million,
Was it just-
2.8 or
Yeah.
2.9.
And again, the big question was, well, what do you want to do with it? The use. If I remember right, at that time, they offered it to the city first. We said we didn't want it, and then they offered it to the public after that. And that must have been when Randy came along. Whether they go that same route, I would imagine, I think by law, they have to offer to the city first. After that, whether they can offer to the public or just plain do what they want with it, the county, that is, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, what do you use it for is kind of the biggie.
The suggestion that I've been hearing is that it should be turned into a hotel. It'd take a lot of work, but we get a lot of requests at the chamber for a hotel within walking distance of downtown.
I just stayed in the Fauché 2 weeks ago. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, I mean, repurposing of buildings into hotels, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would take a lot of, just to get the
Oh, yeah.
mold out, to
Oh,
put
yeah.
it into a hotel.
Well, and at that point, being it's changing occupancy, then it would have to be brought up to current building code.
Right.
Correct. Right. Arlen?
The steps in that building going up to the, where they lived,
Mm-hmm.
those are all concrete.
Mm-hmm.
There's no wood involved in those.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's not gonna fall down.
no,
Mm.
no.
You're the nearest neighbor. Did you want a parking lot? or-
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice, it would be a nice feature for the city, just even to see that area cleaned up. Because it's almost impossible to even use those sidewalks on the German Street side, but. Did you need any action from us?
No, I
other
was
than your
just
report?
bringing you up to date with the information where I'm at.
Okay.
Let's make it into a ballroom.
I have nothing, no report, other than the fact that I did go to the Little Falls conference. Understand Kara was there, I didn't see her there, but, it was a great conference. What was exciting about it was to see, especially what they have done with Little Falls itself. It has a lot of stores on their main street also that are unoccupied at this time like ours, but they've made them look exciting and useful and attractive. That's what I found. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say about the conference?
I went to the all-day session on the filling the empty buildings and took away
Yes.
some great ideas that I'm starting to implement at the chamber.
Okay.
Like a tour of empty buildings
Mhm.
coming up. We're planning that for January, working with the realtors and the building owners,
Yeah.
trying to get people, what?
How simple of a good idea.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
wonderful.
it was a
It's like so
great
easy. Why didn't no one
conference.
ever think of that before?
Yeah.
And it may
it's-
not be a potential business owner that comes in, but it might be a resident who knows someone who wants to open a business.
They know somebody. that
You know,
knows
but
somebody.
what I hear from people, the Thrifty White building, oh, that's moldy, that's bad.
It's not a bad building.
I don't think so either, but no one knows because everyone thinks it's
Yeah.
bad. So if we do a tour and get people in there, then maybe they can
Yeah.
drum up some potential. The Ben Franklin one's going to be interesting. See if I get that.
It was,
Cleaned up.
I really enjoyed that conference, and it
I
was
did too.
well worth attending, and
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see more people attend them in the future, and it would be nice to have another one here. We had one here a couple years ago. Is there any other business to come before the commission? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second it.
So moved. Thank you all very much.